During the Middle Ages, there were many forms of gambling enjoyed as recreational activities. Would you like to hit or stay? You busted. Stay. 19 tie. No, win. Please place your bets. $21.
What an all money is.
Would you like to hit? 16. 6. 17. I win. Thank you. Last hand. Place your bets, please. Would you like to hit or stay? Oh. 16.
Oh.
21.
How did you do that?
17. Winners.
Jousting was a popular recreational activity for participants and spectators in the Middle Ages.
Jousting was used for training knights in the Middle Ages.
Plays were a common recreational activity for people in the Renaissance period, both for performers and people in the audience. So we're going to do a piece from Romeo and Juliet. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief. That thou, her maid, art far more fair than she, be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. It is my lady, oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses, I will answer it. I am too bold, 'tis not to me she speaks. Two of the fairest stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What if her eyes were there, they in her head? The brightness of her cheek would shame those stars, as daylight doth a lamp. Her eyes in heaven would through the airy region stream so bright, that birds would sing and think it were not night. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek.
I, me.
She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious to this night, being o'er my head as is a winged messenger of heaven, unto the white upturned wandering eyes of mortals that fall back to gaze on him, when he bestrides the lazy pacing clouds, and sails upon the bosom of the air.
O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father, and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Making ridges was a common recreational activity in the Dark Ages and Middle Ages. Teddy bears are never harmed because of what?
I don't know.
Because they stuff.
What can you catch but not throw?
I don't know.
A coat. Which is heavier, a ton of feathers or a ton of bricks?
Bricks, because they
No.
weigh more than feathers.
No, they both weigh the same.
Bricks.
The Renaissance period was from the 14th to 17th century and bridged the Middle Ages to the modern era. Soccer was a big leisure activity to spectators and players, but due to all the riots, the government disliked it very much.
Europeans brought bowling to America and introduced it to the Native Americans.
In the colonial time periods, there was not much time for recreation or leisure activities because people had to tend to their farms. So therefore, people did not have that much time for bowling.
Foot races were a common recreational activity in the colonial time period. Lacrosse was a common recreational activity in the colonial time period.
The Native Americans introduced it to the colonial settlers. Swimming was a recreational activity during the colonial time period. Local feats were known locally, but there were no such thing as professional athletes.
Billiards was a game for the wealthy. It was known to almost all original colonial settlers. There was a very strict rule about no playing on Sundays in the original colonial period.
long as
The Native Americans played a primitive game of basketball during the colonial times. You gotta make it. You gotta make it. I need you in here, baby.
Boxing was a common recreational activity during the colonial time period, usually with lower class men competing.